I wanted to talk about anxiety and depression. Um, I don't think I was necessarily diagnosed with depression, but I think a lot of people have experienced depression. I think most people have. I don't really know the statistics, but I think, let's say, 3 or 4 out of 5 people probably experience some sort of depression. Depression really hinders our own emotional fulfillment. I think depression really makes us just feel nothing, empty. Uh, this sort of void in your heart. You're not really being yourself in front of people. Not necessarily agonizing pain, but more so just a little bit of being ignorant yet slightly resentful, which also has some blurry lines of sadness, yet not willing to express it. I think being ignorant in the fact that you're not really paying attention to your outside world, but more so having that sort of symptom where you're constantly thinking of the same thing of the bad things. More so blaming yourself, but less so willing to change. Um, I think it's a little bit of a hurdle. So imagine yourself running track and field and you're trying to jump over that hurdle, but you're constantly stuck behind knowing that you think to yourself, you can't jump over it. And every single time that you try to jump, you tell yourself that you can't jump. And what you think is really your own head telling yourself that you can't. In a sense, doubt is probably the most critical factor in depression is telling yourself that, those things happened and I don't think I'm able to make amends to deal with it. And when you stop dealing with it, and let's say you isolate yourself, and more in the fact that it's just not possible. When you tell yourself those things, it's really hard to get over whatever hurdle is ahead. And so I think for most people with depression, I think it's more so in the past where you can sometimes get out of it with some sort of high and low, but I think that's more so in a phase where you're being maniac. And that sort of mania really drives you to believe that you are out of it, but it's only temporary. Um, I think once you start to accept that a lot of things are the way that they are, and your worry for the future, which causes your anxiety, sort of stop and I think just being in the present. So letting go of the past, forgiving yourself for the past, and truly accepting for what happened, and gaining understanding and clarity that it's okay to let go of those things and stop worrying about the future because when you're constantly thinking about the future, that's the most important fear. The fear is not when it happens. The fear is being afraid that it will happen. I think that fear will likely make you feel trapped. Um, Kind of like you're in the basement with no sunlight. And when the sunlight comes, you're kind of hoping that it comes, but it never does. And so combining both of them, you're kind of stuck in an endless loop. And the only way to break that loop is the key is to understand that you have to release some things. When those bad things happen, you sort of build up those negativity. And when you have too much negativity, let's say 100% of the time, 99% of it is negative, you have to wash away some of the negative and pour in some positive, right? Kind of like a cup of water. Eventually, if you have most of your cup empty, well, you're gonna feel very, very not very optimistic. You're going to be pessimistic, right? About a lot of things, especially in your life. So, doing things that get you out of that hole, let's say hanging out with friends, probably not something that you would do if you have both depression and anxiety. You probably won't be going outside. You probably won't be meeting your friends. Going to the mall instead of staying in your room all day, listening to songs that are cheerful instead of something that's very emotional, right? See, that's the irony of it, is having those emotions to release, whether it's crying, whether it's talking things out with things, it's okay to talk things out. It's okay to tell people how you feel. And it's okay to jot down those thoughts down in your head, because it's releasing those negative thoughts. And by releasing those negative thoughts, you're able to truly understand that it's okay. It's okay to not be okay, because some people won't understand what you've been through, and some people won't understand that, you know, it takes time to get over whatever that you need to get over. And not everyone had, or probably has had, a very happy childhood. And, adult life is already stressful enough in today's economy. So, being able to just release those things, and whatever sort of calms you down, and make sure to breathe, and just don't do stupid shit. you know um Having those addictions might be temporary, but it won't help you forever. Not necessarily saying that they'll hurt you, but you're only delaying the inevitable, right? If you want to heal, you got to start acting like you want to heal. Not necessarily saying that you have to fake it till you make it, which I don't really believe. I don't really believe that you can truly fake your character the whole time, and not giving a single damn about how you truly feel on the inside. That's not really living life. That's not really being true to your character. A lot of people, they hide a lot of things. A lot of people, they hide their depression, their anxiety, and you know, I think that's fine. Just understanding and admitting that you do have those symptoms is already a good step towards the right direction. And if you do really want to get out of it, well, you got to put work into it, right? Got to be more proactive. You got to start tackling those challenges that make you feel that way, right? If you feel that way, well, you got to ask yourself why. Why are you feeling that way? What's causing it, right? Can I get past that hurdle? All right. Think about it.